everybody. Welcome back to another episode of God Built This Podcast. I'm your host, Maxine. I'm on episode 142. Hello. There is so much to get into, but before we get into anything, let's talk about going to a day party, going to a club, going to an establishment where there is a lot of hip hop being played, just nigga shit. And, it's a good time. But I am noticing a couple of things. Let's talk about the first thing that I noticed. As I'm walking through, because when you're going out with your friends, well, at least me and my girls will stay stationary with the people that we're with, and then we'll say, okay, you want to walk around? So we do a lap, do some quick track running in field happening. And as I'm walking through, I'm noticing that almost every bartender, waitress, and I would say mostly like a lot of the women that I see as I'm going through the lap around, they know all of the words to all of these rap songs. And I'm thinking to myself, huh? Like, I was walking through and I saw this short little Hispanic girl. I mean, maybe she's Italian. Well, it's giving Hispanic. And she's one of the waitresses. And she's like rapping so hard, right? Like as she's carrying out her order. And I'm looking at her and I'm like, okay, how did we get here? Like, I'm just wondering. I just like to think about things, And I'm wondering, what life did she live that got her to know all of these like gutter ass rap lyrics? It is one thing to know like a famous, a Biggie song, a famous Diddy song, just like stuff like that, or even a famous Southern song since we're in Texas. But these like gutter ass, I don't know how else to describe it. These like really hood ass songs. And it's not like it's the parts of the song that is most popular. It's the third verse of the song. It's the bridge. It's the ad libs. It's like, did you write this? Hello? I walked by one of the people who we were with as we were going through the lap, and I asked him, it was a guy, and I understand guys to know more rap songs. And maybe I'm being gender biased here, but I just find it so funny to me when women, especially really feminine looking women, and women who look like they may not have been through, and of course I'm judging books by its cover. I get that. But like, this short Hispanic girl just really knew all of these gutter ass rap lyrics. Is everything okay? I just thought that was funny. But yeah, one of the guys that I saw also rapping super hard lyrics, which I give a pass for because you're a man and, men go through shit. And not to say women don't, but it's just, I guess, I just apply it more for men. And I'm like, did you write the song? That's it. Because he knew all of the words. I was like, did you write the song? Did you write it? Were you one of the people in the studio? Like, is everybody okay? It just makes me wonder. I wonder all of the people who work in nightlife or, day life, because there's a lot of Sunday fun day activities here in Houston that allows you to party during the day at an establishment. So it's not just a nighttime thing, because when I was out the other day, it was definitely a daytime thing that lasted for hours. And I just noticed a lot of the bartenders, whether male, females, mostly female bartenders, well, female waitresses, and there are a few male bartenders, but for the most part, it's definitely women populated, at least that time that I went. So I just wonder, is that a requirement to become a bartender? You have to know these rap lyrics? Is it a requirement to know the songs that are well played in this establishment because you gotta like look the part, fit the part? Like, I just wonder. Or maybe they just know it more because they constantly hear it because they're at work. But that's just so interesting to me. They're like this his little Hispanic girl. I'm still stuck on her. I was really staring at her in awe. Like she knew all of these Young Dolph's lyrics, and I that just astonished me. God rest his soul. When I heard that news, it really just that's it's disappointing. It's unfortunate. It's sad. So my condolences goes out to his family and just his children. Oh, it's so sad. But I think about the songs that he wrote and talked about, and some of these songs, like I'm not to say I was like this super Young Dolph fan, but I knew some of his songs, and I really like his beat. I like how he rapped. I like how he enunciated his words. Like I followed along well. Like it was easy to follow along. It was easy to remember. Like if I wanted to be one of those girls, if I wanted to be that Hispanic girl who knew all of the words to a rap song, a gutter ass rap song, Young Dolph is the one is the way to go. So I really liked his music as far as that goes. And I think about, well, like for example, the song "100 Shots," 100. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but if I got the right tune, but you know that song. It's called 100 Shots, and when you go into it, it talks about him avoiding 100 shots. That's a lot of shots to avoid, but apparently he got shot at prior to the final shot that ultimately ended his life. But prior to that event, he was shot at multiple times and survived. That Tupac energy, that 50 Cent energy, but unfortunately, Tupac passed away allegedly. And Young Dolph has passed away. And I think about, with a lot of these rappers, and again, I'm not like a big Young Dolph fan. Like, I'm not, what is it, an expert in his lyrics and what he's been through. But from what I've gathered so far, is that he talks a lot about death. And it may come across as if he glorified cheating death and cheating his death, because the two or three four times, actually it was a multiple times he got shot at and survived, was he talked about it in his music a lot, and maybe it taunted or just kind of teased his haters, the killers out there who are aiming to kill him, and it incited more violence than it should have, which is just, I'm not from the streets. I only gather information from power. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Oh, that was a good show until it wasn't. But I gather information of street life from shows that I've watched, from people that I've talked to here and there. And, with the streets, all I've learned about it is that even if you're not in the streets anymore, right, and you have made the choice to actively leave and change your life and become a square, or, just not of that life anymore, you're really choosing life and choosing God in a sense. Um, it still haunts you. Whatever you did in the streets, for some reason, won't let you go. You are still haunted by it, and you still have to pay what you have sown. So if you have been in the streets for X amount of years, if you was in a gang, if you was a part of a drug trafficking ring, or whatever criminal, illegal street shit going on, it will carry on with you until it doesn't. And what I've gathered is that ultimately, if you're in the streets, whether active or not, but more so when you're actively in the streets, you have two results: either death or jail. And when I think about Young Dolph, I wonder if all of the times he got shot at and survived, the few times that it happened, was it because he was actively inciting and actively in the streets and still putting on this persona of hood life, of, killer or be killed type of life? I wonder if he was, in fact, bringing this reality of his demise closer than he realized. You ever think about that? Like when you, and also because his lyrics, apparently he has a lot of songs that talk a lot about death and death, 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 death. When you talk about certain things or just anything for too much, it eventually will become your reality. Your mouth is powerful, your words are powerful. So I wonder, was this just bound to happen? And it's really sad because I really did appreciate his music. And yes, his music lives on, but there's no new music anymore. It's gone, right? Because he's gone. But he made an impact upon all of his fans, upon his hometown, Memphis. And it's really unfortunate that when you think about decisions that you've made from your childhood, from your younger days, from your adolescence, it could still haunt you in your adulthood. It could still haunt you in your elderlyhood. Like it could still be present if someone, especially if someone is out to get you, still sees you as a threat, still sees you as someone they are jealous of. Jealousy is the worst thing in the world. It really is. Like you could be anything. Like you could be a lazy person. You could be someone who lacks work ethic, someone who is unmotivated, someone like just negative traits, right? But I feel like those things you could get through. You could be a messy person, right? You don't organize well. Honestly, all those traits are horrible to me. Like shit. Like I hate people like that. I wouldn't dare to date anyone like that. But I think ultimately, out of all of the horrible traits that there is, jealousy is top notch. It is the top notchy notch of horrible characteristics. And that goes as far as with anybody in your life. Like having a mother who's jealous is horrible. Having a father who's jealous, right? You have parents who have been jealous of their children because when the parent was their child's age, they didn't have this access and this privilege that they have now, and so they are hating on their child because X, Y, and Z, which is weird because you think about how parents would say, I want to give my child. Oftentimes you hear parents who grew up rough, who grew up impoverished, would always say, I want to give my child everything I never got. And so it's strange when you hear a parent or see a parent who is jealous of their child because their child is now experiencing all that they could not have experienced when they were younger. Whoo, child. But yeah, jealousy overall for anyone in any type of relationship, again, if it's familial, whether it's mother to child, mother to daughter, father to son, brother to brothers, sibling jealousy, friends, friend jealousy. And I feel like what I'm going to say next may sound so vapid because when you look at social media or just reality TV in general, and you see a lot of times women on reality shows are typically fighting because of a man, right? Over a man, because of a man, or, I dated him at one point and you're dating him, that's foul, stuff like that. People would find reason to be upset over, particularly women. And I think ultimately when it comes to friendship, if you're the friend who finally is in a relationship with somebody and you're finally happy and it's going far, it's going the distance, things are going really well with you and said person, and you have your friend who has always been single the time that you've been friends with that person, and now that friend is still single, but now they don't have you as their single friend anymore. They have you now as the friend who's now in a relationship. And now that friend is single by herself and she's jealous. She is jealous. And again, I want to clarify that this is not how I feel about all single female friends. But I think about when there are like there's very few of them in between. They sprinkle here and there in friendship groups. So when there's that one single friend who's been single for a very long time and who preaches the rhetoric of, I don't need a man, I have them here and there, or just kind of have this dismissive tone when it comes to men and romance and dating, and they deny that they desire a relationship, and the only reason they deny it is because they don't have one. So it's easy. How people be like, oh, I'm single because I'm just working on me. I'm singing time to God. Like, no, bitch, you're single because no one's asked you out. Hello? Is the mic on? You're single because he did not ask you out. That's okay. Like, just like, just okay. It's okay. But, so I think overall, when you have that single female friend who is still single and their friend is now in a relationship and it's going the distance and it's happy. It's not one of those like flippant relationships type of thing, but it's a real relationship that includes love and, companionship and just adoration and affection. That single friend will display their jealousy one way or another. It will manifest itself in one way or another, and it'll manifest itself by dropping seeds of doubt in your head of your man, right? Making you wonder and question, should I trust my boyfriend? Should I trust my man? Should I take him at his word? That jealous single female friend will drop seeds to the other friendship circle and say, well, he hit on me first, or he tried me first, or he really ain't shit, or they will fuel this idea of why you really can't be happy, or why you really can't enjoy the love that you're enjoying. And it all stems from jealousy. So when you look really within, when you look deep into people and not look at them from what they say out loud, just see how they move, just see how they process, see how they operate, see how they just move, you really get to see that jealousy is just the worst thing in the world. You really get to see that it's not about you. You did nothing wrong. You are not at fault here. No, it's this person and their jealousy, which really is insecurity, right? Which really is fear, which really is unhealed wounds, which really is abandonment issues from childhood, which really is like it goes deeper. It goes deeper. You know what I mean? So ultimately, when you have someone who's jealous and they're around you, whether they are around you in a friendship circle, any type of relationship status, any type of, stay clear, far away from that person, because they will try their best to spew out their misery towards you, because ultimately they're jealous, they're insecure, they are in fear because they don't have what you have in which they want. Okay, so that's my TED talk. I just went on a rampage there. I felt the spirit to just take over. But I think it's really something to be mindful of, because there's a lot of jealous people out here. There's a lot of jealous people, or like, there's just, in your life, you would have come across a jealous person by now, or you already have one in your surroundings. And I'm saying all this to say, be careful. Now that sounds very crepid. What's the word? That's the word, crepid? Or it sounds like just like more beware, they're gonna kill you. I mean, if you're really jealous, shit, that could be the next step. But ultimately, anyway, going back to Young Dolph, I think because he was killed, jealousy definitely played a part here, and because he was tried many times prior to get killed, but it didn't work, there's this jealousy of look at this man, like who he think he is. He got out the hood and he's doing well for himself. You know, he has investment properties. He's a smart man. From what I'm learning of young Dolph is that he was very intelligent. He knew how to make his money work and last long for him, his partner, and his woman. I don't make that distinction because, you know, people say partner, they sometimes mean homosexual. I'm not trying to put that out there. I'm just saying, I don't know if he was married to his children's mother. But yeah, so he knew how to really be successful. And he wasn't one of those rappers who got money and just was frivolous and foolish with it. Instead, he knew what to do with it. He knew how to invest. He was very smart. So that is another source of jealousy for a lot of people who don't have that, or who just don't feel like they could have that. So they see this man who looks like them, who grew up in the same area, all of these similarities, yet they don't have what young Dolph has. So you know what? Instead of working to get there, instead of focusing on me and my lane, I'm going to kill you. Right? And of course it could have been deeper. I'm sure it was. I don't think niggas just don't be killing people, you know, 3, 4, 5 times until they finally get you. I think without you having played a part here, I don't think young Dolph is all the way innocent here. I think he definitely played a part. Maybe he did have a large role in street life, and it just finally got back to him. I just think ultimately, when you think about the characteristic of jealousy, it really ends lives. It ends lives. It ends friendships. It ends relationships. It ends it all. And it really and there's something you could do. Like, if you call someone out of their jealousy, that's gonna make them even angrier, right? I think that person just has to finally come to a point and realize, oh, I'm losing friends, right? I'm losing relationships. I am losing my mind. Let me finally sit within myself. But even then, it takes a while. People be going to church, but still don't realize that they're sinners too, right? People be going to church and still don't know how to take accountability, don't know how to really look within, don't know how to really be compassionate, like don't really know how to be that Christian that Jesus has called for you to be. Yet you go to church because it looks good, right? You go to therapy because it looks good. Oh, my black therapist, I got her at blacktherapist.com. But bitch, are you applying anything to your life? Have you applied anything? Child, if you know, you know. I'm saying these things because this is direct to some experiences that I have. But people just be putting things on for a show. And being the person that I am, I see the bullshit. And it irritates me. It irritates me so much because I cannot see the bullshit. Like, sometimes I wish I was as just as, vapid as some of these people are. Like, oh, I don't, everything is fine. No. You're lying. No. You're full of shit. Oh, like, I can't, and if you call someone out on it, that's not a great time for them to say, okay, you're right, you caught me, I am a liar. Like, no one says that. They just go home at night and they just like, oh, fuck, that didn't work out. Anyway, ultimately, when you see a lot of people what I'm trying to say is, when you see a lot of people go to church all the time, but don't apply shit in their life, that's enough of a red flag. When you see people I've been to therapy for 5 years, but you're the same person. How, like, where's the growth? Okay, tell me how have you changed from day 1 of therapy to day 492 of therapy till right now? How have you changed? Because if nothing has changed, girl, hang it up. Hang it up. So when we think about like these things that people do to look right? Like, if you go to church, you should get something out of it. Don't get out of it this judgmental superiority complex. That's not what you should get out of it. If you go to therapy, you should get something out of it. Not this, I'm right. I am victimized and I have no accountability. And I think there are therapists who enables that. I think there are therapists who enable that behavior of making you see yourself as a victim and making everyone else around you who has done anything wrong to you, quote unquote, wrong to you, because wrong may not even be wrong, but because you're called out on your shit is wrong to you, then that therapist will still find a way to still make you feel like, yes, you were wrong, then you have no accountability here, and you're right. That person, like sometimes therapists could be yes men or yes women. They could still not really let you know, because what's really happening here, right? You're the patient and you're telling your side of what events took place, and the therapist only has that side. The therapist is not talking to the friend that you're talking about, right? Or the boyfriend that you're talking about, the ex that you're talking about. No. The therapist is only getting your perspective. So from your painting of the picture, you look like the victim. You look like the one who's everybody's picking at. Anyway, it just stems from jealousy. It stems from jealousy. Child, I'm trying to prevent myself from talking about Married at First Sight this early on in this episode. And honestly, I wanted to just get straight into it from the beginning, because as soon as I watched that episode of the reunion, the first part of the reunion, I was like, my God, today. There's a lot to say about Marla, but I'm going to suspend this topic conversation in a moment, okay? So let's just, I just want to let you guys know that this is sitting on my spirit to talk about, but I'm going to suspend it for a moment because I want to talk about another topic at first. So, this topic is actually very uncomfortable to talk about because I don't know how to approach it the way, anyway, me even saying this is annoying. I hear people do disclaimers and I'm definitely doing that right now. Let me just get into it. So anyway, it's just uncomfortable to talk about, but I want to talk about it because it needs to be discussed. Particularly, you have the LGBTQIA plus community probably trying to push this agenda, and I feel like within the next few years, this may be normalized. So in case you have not heard of, there is this new term in town called MAPS. It's called MAPS. And no, I did not say MAFS, right? Because MAFS stands for Married at First Sight. I'm talking about MAPS. Yes, MAPS. What's MAPS, Maxine? MAPS stand for Minor Attracted Persons. Okay? So the S at the end is really it's a lowercase s. But anyway, it stands for Minor Attracted Person, and it is a term being pushed by I don't know if he coined the term, but this professor named Alan Walker, who happens to be a trans man. So he was born a woman but transitioned into a man. And he goes by the name Alan Walker, and his pronouns include they, which is, nigga, shut the fuck up. Okay, but he's a black man. Sorry, not black man. Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. I did not mean to say that. Don't want to put that on black men. He's a white man, a white trans man, and he was placed on leave from his profession. He's a professor at what is it called? Old Dominion University, which is already sounding demonic to me. Like, what the fuck? But he was a professor of sociology and criminal justice, and he was placed on leave because he is pushing for the term minor attracted persons, and he received a lot of backlash for it because he said he would rather people use that term instead of pedophile, because pedophile has this stigma and it serves as a barrier to treatment to treatment of pedophilia. Now, even that right there is something that is strange because I don't. And I want to look at this topic in a variety of ways, which is why it's uncomfortable for me to talk about it because I don't ever want it to come across that I'm trying to even understand. But being the person that I am, I like to hear everything before I even, like, I don't like to shut things down, basically what I'm saying. And I feel like in order for us to have a conversation, we have to have a conversation. We can't just shut down. And ultimately, though, what I do want to say is that this definitely comes across as eventually normalizing pedophilia and normalizing being attracted to minors, and therefore that attraction eventually leading to action had towards them. And the reason why he wants to make the distinction between pedophilia and minor attracted persons is that pedophilia is focused on actually acting on that attraction. So not only are you attracted to minors as an adult, but you are acting on that attraction, which therefore makes you a pedophile. Now, that makes me question right now, if you are an adult and you haven't acted on your attraction towards minors, yet you watch child porn, are you still a pedophile? Are you still considered? Because I'm wondering, is even watching something as disgusting, disturbing, just horrible as that, is that justification for a pedophile, right? For someone who's minor attracted to say, well, I didn't act on it. I just, instead of me acting on it, I just watched this horrible porn, and that prevents me from acting on it. You see where I'm going with this, which is, again, this is uncomfortable for me to talk about, but I want to talk about it because there are pedophiles out here, right? Obviously, we know this. We have apps that tell us who is a registered pedophile, or not even pedophile, registered sex offender. And I think that's a different term because with sex offender is specific to, or it's a range of things, right? You're considered a sex offender if you happen to take your dick out in public, like outside in public, because you needed to pee real quick. You couldn't wait to go to the bathroom, or there wasn't. Anyway, you happen to take your dick out and you went to go pee. An officer sees you, marks you up, possibly arrests you. But from that one incident, you can be considered as a sex offender. I've seen this. I mean, I haven't seen this per se, but I've heard of cases like that has sex offenders, well, some become sex offenders because they just took their dick out in the public and they just needed to pee, right? Another case of being considered a sex offender is if you had sex in public with a consented adult, right? If you are two adults having, multiple, whatever. But like if you are an adult having sex with another adult consensually, and you're in public, and an officer, these damn officers, huh? An officer happens to walk by, then sex offender could also be a part of your label. Like those are the cases when sex offenders is like, ooh, I don't think that should be considered sex offended, right? Obviously, the cases of if you are an adult and you rape someone, definitely sex offender. If you have molested children, definitely sex offender. All these things have taken place. This is funny right now because I had a phone call. I got a phone call earlier, right before I decided to hit record. And speaking of sex offenders, this is why am I laughing? I laugh at everything. Y'all know this right now. I laugh when I'm uncomfortable. I laugh when I'm comfortable. I laugh when I'm happy. I love when one thing about me, I'm a laugh. So a sex offender called my phone. You're probably thinking, What the fuck, Maxie? Who? Let me just say this. There is a sex offender in every family. Okay? So let that sit. There's a sex offender in every family. So when this one called my number, and he has my number, of course, because we're family, it just made me I looked at my phone and I think to myself, family's really a bitch sometimes, as far as because of this biological thing that, I didn't ask for, you didn't ask for, I didn't ask to be born in this, you are binded to this person, to people who you may not really fuck with, outside of the fact that we are biologically related, right? We are literally binded to each other. And I think about how, first of all, one thing about me, I really appreciate, like, since dating, since being with Freckles Bay, I really just appreciate that he asked me before calling me. Like, hey, you free right now? Or, hey, what are you up to? Or if I'm busy or whatever, he'll say, call me or whatever. Like, and we'll talk on the phone and it's great. I realize, like, I really don't like when niggas just be calling just off a whim. Like, send me a text first. Like, hey, are you free right now? Can I give you a call? Or, hey, if you're free in 10 minutes, give me a call. Or text me first. So when my phone rings, and I think also something about a phone ringing just makes me just like, I just want to be like, oh. And so when my phone rang again right before I hit record, and I'm like, I'm laying on my couch chilling. I see my phone ringing. I go to it, and then I see it's the sex offender, and I am just like, what? I haven't talked to you in almost a year since I've been home in Boston, and I think about, like, what is the gall? What is the gall? But yeah, I didn't. Eventually, I will have to call back because family. But overall, that made me think about just like phone calls and like phone call etiquette. Phone call etiquette. Like, text me first. Even when I'm calling my friends, like, if we happen to already be in a texting like zone or whatever, then sure, it's fine to just call me. But before then, like, if I haven't spoken to you in a whole year, if we never texted in that time frame and you just call me off a whim, like, did you butt dial me? Like, is everything okay? Anyway, let's get back to maps. Minor attracted person. So I think about so when we think about this term, what I feel like things will go when it comes to this, it will go into more of the acronym that is had for LGBTQIA plus community. Some, maybe the plus part is inclusion of minor attraction persons, MAP. Maybe that is going to be a part of it, if not already is a part of it. And being that the person, it'll be one thing if it was a straight person pushing this rhetoric down the media, but the fact that this person who is a trans man is the one pushing down this rhetoric is making me wonder what is really going on. Like, what is really the agenda? And the agenda here is to normalize pedophilia, is to because me, I'm an intellectualizer, okay? You know how there's the equalizer? I'm the intellectualizer. Like, I'm gonna converse you down. I'm going to critically think you down. Like, that's fun. That's fun for me. Which is why this conversation is uncomfortable for me, because it's like, I don't want us to get to a place where we intellectualize something so much so that we then normalize sick behavior. Now, I think about um treatment, right? Because he said the term pedophilia creates a barrier to treating such behavior and such mindset. Is there really treatment? Can one be treated of sex offending? I think about the sex offender who called me and who did what he did many years ago, and he is now married, kid, like life is totally, like, he's not like on the streets, he's not an alcoholic, he's not, you wouldn't even think this person could have ever. But I think about, can one really be treated from that, right? Like, if I were to have children, God willing, I would like to have children one day. Let me say when I have children. Hello, you gotta call it out. When I have children, I don't think I would ever allow my child around someone who I knew violated someone, right? I don't, definitely not on some babysitting stuff, in my absence, and definitely not on some, and it's tricky because I think about with family, when you're family with someone, when you're related to someone, there's a lot of excuses that we put on, that we say, oh, well, it's, this is your family. This is your family. Let's move on. Let's forgive. Let's forget. Especially when church is involved, as far as like, if you were raised in the church heavily, and church is still heavily influential in your family structure, it's not at all encouraged to just throw people away, especially if that person is family. But overall, I don't know if there is treatment for minor attracted persons, right? Like, think about it outside of that nastiness, right? If you're more attracted to light-skinned niggas than you are dark-skinned niggas, and I'm just, I'm taking the conversation to more of a silly route because it's getting dark, right? So let's lighten it up. But if you're attracted to more lighter skinned guys than you are darker skinned guys, or if you're attracted to more taller guys than you are shorter guys, if you're attracted to guys who have jobs than the guys who don't have jobs, right? What happens to that attraction? You act on it. Am I wrong? Right? You act on it. Even, and yes, maybe that's not an equivalence, because here I am intellectualizing. Maybe it's not an equivalence, because it's like, well, when you're attracted to lighter skin guys or darker skin guys, it's not like those are wrong attractions. The point is the point. When you're attracted to anything, you eventually will fall victim to that attraction. Okay? So whether that attraction is considered wrong, illegal, disturbing, all these like horrible things, you will eventually fall victim to it. Now, who knows if you'll be always falling victim to that attraction forever, but maybe once in a while you'll fall victim to it. Or maybe once in a while you'll look at that person. Like, I'm wondering with particularly pedophiles. I'm wondering with pedophiles, are you, prior to you acting on it, you're thinking about it, of course, right? Like, people say you lust with your eyes. That's a part of the Bible. That's in the Bible. It talks about, like, you don't lust with your actions first. You lust with your mind. You lust with your eyes. You even checking out a woman's butt is lusting, and therefore that is sin, sinful behavior. So when you think about a pedophile, they're looking at children first, right? Think about those pedophiles who would frequent at children's playgrounds, who would frequent at schools, malls, R. Kelly, any place where minors are at, whatever your pickings, right? Whether it's like young boys, young girls, toddler age, middle school age, high school age, minors in general, you will frequent in their area, you'll frequent in just in their space, in their surroundings. You'll find a way to blend in. And while you're blending in, you're doing what? You're jacking off. You're jacking off. Stop laughing in the car. I hear you. Me saying jack it off, right? I just had a whole image of a man in a detective jacket, like those pea coats. And he has a detective hat on with black mask. With not mask, black glasses, and he just takes his dick out. Like, is everybody okay? But like, it starts there, right? It starts from you looking, and it goes into your mind. Your thoughts are now infiltrated with these disgusting acts you would like to pursue upon said minor. Ooh, let's move on from this topic. But I just wanted to bring this up because you may come across this term, and you may be in a work environment that will try to push this rhetoric out. And yes, this man got put on administrative leave, and he got a lot of backlash for it. But this was the sacrifice that needed to be made for this conversation to be had, and for businesses and companies to now adopt this potentially and start to normalize it. Like, maybe this was a part of the agenda for this man to come out, take the bait, be the sacrifice, to then finally allow people, or put force upon people and businesses to not mandate it, to encourage acceptance for it. It all starts with our language. When we are then allowing silly shit to be accepted, right? The pronoun shit is silly as hell. Nigga, you a man? You look like a man, you a man, right? You're he, you're him, his. If we have to point out just regular dumb shit, and now have to say it out loud, hey, I'm Maxine and I go by, what do you think I fucking go by? But now we are having to explain ourselves and our identity, and we have to explain what we go by. We have to put it next to our title. Hi, I'm the director of sales and I go by he, him, she, his, and hers. Huh? Is the mic on? Is everybody okay? Now we're gonna then, and we see a lot of people now. I have some people in my job who will be on Zoom sometimes, and they got their they say their name. I'm Josh, and maybe not say Josh. I actually have a coworker named Josh. I'm Todd. I don't think it's so, but yeah, Todd, and I go by he, they, and him. Okay. Well, what's your last name? Just say your last name. Because at this point, what the fuck are pronouns anymore? At this point, everything that I learned in 3rd grade means nothing. It means nothing. And that bothers me. It bothers me as an academic person. As a person in academia. And this whole Latin X shit. What the fuck? What is a Latin X? No, and actually, let me tell y'all something. Hold on. Because they changed Latin X. I probably, hold on. Latin X. I think it's something different now. A Latinx or some dumb shit. No, I think Latin X is the latest one. But it used to be something else before that. I can't find it and I can't remember. It's so fucking dumb. Like, are y'all dumb? Anyway, so I just popped up Latinx in Google, right? And Latinx is spelled Latinx. And this article popped up. It says about 1 in 4 U.S. Hispanics have heard of Latinx, but just 3% use it because it's dumb. Nobody uses that shit. People are changing words to fit their sensitive ass. That's what they're doing. They're changing words and making you look like the bad guy for not going with the status quo, for not acquiescing to this rhetoric. I'm not ever telling you my fucking pronoun. No. And I'm going to go by how you look. And if you correct me, then okay, I'll go with your correction. But I'm not going to fucking ask you what pronoun. Nigga, you're he? Okay. That's it. That's it. Like, I'm not adding it to my resume. Okay? And I'm damn sure not going to add minor attracted persons into language to eventually normalize pedophilia. Like, we have come to a point in our world, in our society, to talk about something so much so that it makes you finally agree with it. Like, it's actually manipulative. This whole Latinx came out of nowhere, but because a Hispanic person was, and since when have we started using Hispanic? I should just say Spanish, bitch. You Spanish. Yo, when I tell you, when I moved to Houston, a lot of things just like opened my eyes to just like the bullshit. When I moved here, when I tell you, prior to me moving to Houston, I used to call every Spanish, but nowadays it's Hispanic, but I used to call every Hispanic person Spanish. You Spanish, bitch. I'm Cape Verde. Okay, you Spanish. Oh, I'm this, I'm that. I'm from Guatemala. You Spanish? Okay. I'm from Latinx. You Spanish. You're what do you speak? Oh, but I'm not what I speak. I get it. But like, cut it out. No one has time to say Hispanic. Cut it out. Can we stop? Shit, you're fucking Spanish. Are you from? And nowadays when I have to not have to, but like nowadays when I say Spanish, I have to signify, or I have to clarify, oh, this person was actually from Spain. Like, it has to be clear. But I get it. These are jokes. At least the part what I'm saying right now. This is a joke. Okay, I get it. Spanish is the correct term if you are from Spain. Spanish is a language as well, but people are not limited to speaking Spanish if they're from Spain, like if they're not from Spain. So if you're from Guatemala, I think they speak Spanish there, right? Yeah. If you're not, you're like, I get it. But just like, cut the shit, okay? And I'm not calling you Latinx, okay? So anyway, going back to MAP, I just think ultimately there's an agenda to normalize pedophilia. It's going to be added to the LGBTQIA plus community, and niggas will try to push that rhetoric, not just in the media, but in your workplaces, in your communities. Beware and stand 10 toes down. Please don't acquiesce. Don't you just I fucking love that word. If you haven't noticed, I use that word a couple of times in multiple episodes. I just love it. When I learned that word a few years ago, I was like, okay, acquiesce me, bitch. It's a really nice word. Just look it up. Know how to spell it and look it up. No, but I think it's just a push to normalize it. I really do. And you have to stand strong against these agendas that are being pushed down our throat. Throw that shit up. Throw it up. Don't swallow it. Don't even ingest it. Don't consume it. Question it. Go against it. Stand who you are, and don't just like, okay, well, it is what it is. Well, I'm just gonna get the shot. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. Rittenhouse. Now, last time I talked about this nigga, what did I say? Why are we talking about this nigga? Why is this being a point of conversation? Why everything that we see in the media, we have to add into our repertoire of discussion? Now, I'm being a hypocrite because I'm obviously adding it right now to our discussion, but this is the point of me saying it. A lot of these topics are being heavily pushed, And I think it's done for a reason. They're making this into a left versus right thing. And by left, I mean Democratic. And by right, I mean Republic. Right? Republican. And I think, with this push to talk about this topic of Rittenhouse and him being acquitted of all the charges, and even prior to that decision being made, the way that the judge treated Rittenhouse, or said actually the victims or the people who were killed are not don't call them victims. So that was like, okay, what? Like, if you got shot, you're a victim, right? Like, what? Whoever you are as a person, right? And here's a push from the right that is saying, okay, let me just give you guys a quick synopsis in case you're not familiar. So here's the thing, and I'm gonna say two sides to the story, because there's like two different stories being pushed, and it's to the point where, nigga, what the hell happened then? What happened? What really happened? So the left, and again, left is Democratic, left is claiming that Rittenhouse antagonized protesters, and he did not act as a self-defense type of behavior. Instead, he antagonized and left the house to shoot and kill folks. And that is what he did, right? He shot 3 people and killed 2 out of the 3. That is the left side's story, and that's what they're sticking with. The right side is claiming that he acted out of self-defense. Yes, he was a 17-year-old with a rifle, but he was able, I don't even know the actual details, so I don't know if he was actually, no, because you have to be 18 to carry, but I don't know. But so anyway, he had a rifle, he's 17, and he's out and about on the streets with the protesters and the rioters. And Rittenhouse's defense is that he went to Kenosha to defend the property of his father's store, his business, and he wanted to stand there to make sure that no one is rioting and attacking it. And so that is seen as the right thing to do from the right side, the Republican side, because it's like, well, you know your business is one of your sources of income, so you're going to do anything that you can to protect it and to make sure that it is covered. And so that is what Rittenhouse did in that moment. And while he was doing so, he was being not bullied, but what's the word? He was being attacked by 3 different people. And so in this attack, he fought back and defended himself. And in defending himself, he shot and killed 2 out of the 3 people. He fought back. One of the people who he killed, his last name is Rosenbaum, and this is all the information that I'm gathering. His last name is Rosenbaum, and he allegedly is speaking of pedophiles, he's a pedophile, allegedly, and he had a history of sexually assaulting minors. And so the right side is in support of Rittenhouse killing him, because it's like, well, you got out the trash, you got out a pedophile, and that's why we fighting in defense of this man. Like, why do we care? So here's my stance on it. I think when we look at people, like, okay, so when we look at this case and we see Rittenhouse shoot and kill someone, he shot and killed someone. I don't think it's an opportunity for us to say, well, okay, it justifies it because he was a pedophile, or it justifies it because he was this, he was that. He still shot and killed someone, and that was out of his right to do so. Now, whether it was self-defense or not, I really don't care to get into that, and I didn't really do research to really look into it deeper. But when we, after someone kills someone, and then we look up into their past and say, well, this person was a burglar, and this person was this or was that, then that makes sense that he killed them. it makes me wonder, like, what then can be pulled out of someone's past to justify an unruly killing in that moment. Now, of course, this man's a pedophile, if that's the case, and he abused and destroyed the lives of many while he was alive. That, though, has nothing to do with Rittenhouse killing him. Does that make sense to you guys? Rittenhouse didn't kill him because he found out Rosenbaum was a sex offender, was a pedophile, and decided to kill him because he wanted to take out the child. Like, no. He happens to be a pedophile. And that was information that was brought to us after the fact of his killing. You know, Rittenhouse didn't go out there, was like, I'm going to find Rosenbaum, who's this alleged pedophile, and I'm going to kill him. He didn't go out there with that pursuit. So I think it's awfully convenient that Rosenbaum is this alleged pedophile, and the right is using this as a way to justify the killing. I don't believe any of this, y'all. To be very quite honest with you, I think everything's a fucking lie. Like, I mean, I don't know how much to say this. We're living in a dream. Nothing is real. This is all a simulation. Like, first of all, we don't see a picture of Rittenhouse's father. We don't see a picture of Rittenhouse's mother. And if we did, it's not circulating enough. And it's not the same cases, but when we saw George Floyd and Ahmaud, which even that's a whole different rabbit hole that we could go down another time. But with that, we saw pictures of George Floyd's family, allegedly. We saw pictures of their family. We saw pictures. Rittenhouse, it's like he's an orphan. Where's this mother who dropped him off and who's seen as an accomplice? Where's his father who he wanted to defend his store? Where is he? Where's his father whose store he wanted to defend? Where is he? Did Kyle Rittenhouse have any siblings? Did he have a former girlfriend? Like, who is Kyle Rittenhouse? So, like, all of these, like, made up situations and, like, this random character Rosenbaum. What kind of fucking what is he, Irish? What kind of last name? That's more Jewish, right? But either way, it's making me wonder, who is piecing this story together? Who are these crisis actors? Because I don't fucking buy it. I don't buy it. And it's giving weird. It's giving weird. I don't know what to believe. I don't know why there are two different stories being pushed from two different political parties. Why is the left so adamant about, or so upset about, the verdict and trying to paint it as this Black Lives Matter situation? Now, here's a connection I think is being made here. I think the connection here is that you have Kyle Rittenhouse, a white teenager at the time, who was able to access a gun and use it and kill folks, whether it was justified in his killing or not. He was able to access the gun, kill folks, and get acquitted of all charges, and the cops met him with the gun and didn't attack him, didn't shoot and kill him. He was able to still walk free into the courthouse, have a justified court hearing. And when you think about a Black man in that situation in this day and age, that would have never happened. You would have seen that Black man gunned down. Okay, we saw and heard of too many cases. What was that case of that man who slept at a Wendy's and got shot down in his car because it looked like he was reaching for something? And all of these damn ass cases where you see a Black man who didn't look the part of an approachable Black man, who looked like they were reaching in their back, even though there wasn't a gun there. You saw the case of that black father who got gunned down while his baby was in the back seat. Like the stories go on and on and on. So I see the connection that's being made here that, oh, if Kyle Rittenhouse was a black man, first of all, that wouldn't be his name. I mean, hello. If you saw Jamal Turner, walking around with Antifa, he would have been gunned down. But in this case, Kyle Rittenhouse was able to have a justified court hearing. He was able to wear his suit and cry freely on the stand and all these things. Like, it paints the picture of more of the racial unrest that's happening in this world. Now, I wrote down in my notes, why is this being pushed so much in the media? Why? Because they want us to the media wants us to be kept in a low vibe. And I know I'm sounding like so Hotepish. What the hell is going on? Sorry, I don't know if y'all heard that. I heard a door slam and I keep turning around. I live in a studio apartment, so the only door slamming is my front door. So, but that shit's dead bolted. Okay, shout out to Jose from Married at First Sight. If you know, you know. But I think about what's my train of thought? Yada yada yada. Okay, so to keep us at a low vibration. A low vibration is what they're trying to do. They want to keep us separated. They want to keep us divided. They want us to keep on arguing and hating and being upset with each other and continuing to find reasons to not be friends with someone outside of our race. And that's what I want all of us to be mindful of when we consume this news, when we consume whatever the media is pushing out on us. We have to take a step back and think to ourselves, why is this being pushed down our throats so much? What is the ulterior motive? What are they trying to do? And this is really what I think it is. They're really just trying to keep us separated, keep us divided, to cause more riots, to eventually cause more deaths because of this, and to have us out here again walking and parading and marching and Antifa-ing and MAGA-ing and all of these divisive groups. Is like, let's be mindful that Bill Gates is out here giving medical advice. Like, let's keep our eyes on the prize. This is what we need to keep our attention on. Why is Bill Gates telling us what to do for our health? That's really the focus here. So anyway, Rittenhouse is acquitted on all charges, and let's move on. That's it. Like, it's not an opportunity to be down in the slumps about it. Like, this does not affect my life, nor should it affect your life. Keep on living your life. Keep on being happy. Keep on pursuing happiness. Keep on loving, laughing, rejoicing. Keep on working hard. Keep on aiming towards completing your goals. Like, keep on keeping on. When we focus so much on things that really has shit to do with us, all these outside things, what's going on in X, Y, and Z world, we then lose sight of what our lane is, and we then lose sight of our goals. We then lose sight of our own personal growth and life journey. And yes, it's good to be in the know. It's good to know what's going on, but it's also better. It's better. Hello, it's better. Say it with me. It's better to focus on yourself. So this is what I advise for everybody. All right, I've waited long enough. Let's get into it. Cue the music. All right, so as I was saying much earlier, we have Merla and Gil. Look, I'm going to tell you guys right now, I am only going to focus on Merla and Gil, a little bit of Rachel and Jose, but Merla and Gil, Gilla, Mergla, okay, Merla Max, child, let's get into it. Let's get the fuck into it. And I'm really excited to watch episode reunion part 2. But first of all, Okay, by now you've watched it. Like, I don't really give recaps. I give my takes on what's already happened, hoping that you've already watched it, or would encourage you to watch it. But you know what? Thinking about how Merla was acting the whole time, right? How she was very hesitant upon kissing him, upon being physical and intimate with him. It really makes sense now. Okay? It makes sense because I think physical touch is big. It is big. And if you are not physically intimate with me, not to say you gotta fuck me the first night. Damn, that sounds so aggressive. But you know what I'm saying. Like, not to say you gotta be super physically intimate so soon. But if you are taking so little of a step to be physically intimate with me, and by physically intimate, I'm talking about any and everything. That's kissing, that's making out, and I still consider making out a thing. That's a part of intimacy. So making out, holding hands, sitting close, holding my waist. Like, if you are not doing that, or not even if you're not doing that, if I'm not doing that to you, right? If I am not reciprocating, if I am not attempting, making the first move to be physically intimate with you, that's enough, right? That's enough right there. That's enough to tell you nothing is going to happen, right? That's enough to tell you I am not attracted to you. And that's really what it is. Like, and you know what's interesting? Because it's like Gil, I don't know why I said his name like that, but Gil is not unattractive, right? He's a handsome young man. Okay, great. So just because someone's handsome, just because someone's attractive, like just in general, doesn't mean that you are attracted to that person, right? Doesn't mean that person is giving you what you need to feel attracted to. So I think about how Merla was the whole time with Gil. It makes sense. In this reunion, part 1, she says how she was never attracted to him. She said that she was never attracted to him, y'all. And you know, we did know that Merla said she did not want a bald man, and Gil is bald, if you haven't noticed. But aside from that, that's the only physical flaw that she says she did not want, and that Gil has. Nothing else on Gil physically from the top was clearly a physical flaw for Merla. So it makes me wonder, was there something else in him that was unattractive for her? Right? Maybe it was his speech. Like, maybe the way that he talks annoyed her. Because it could be stuff like that. Like, you could be very handsome, but the way that you talk, right? The way that you move your hands, or just the way that you are, just your whole being is like, ew, nigga, never mind. Never. I'm trying to think, when did that happen for me? I mean, a couple of times, but it's just, you could be attractive, but it's typically, oh, okay, see, I forgot about this story. Okay, years ago, nigga. Okay, this when I was single, popping, pop, 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 pop. You know, years ago. This was like, I want to say a year after college. Okay, so that's a context for you. So me and my college best friend, we went to a bar in our neighborhood, Dorchester, D Block. What up? Psych, what? No, but yeah, we went to it was actually I'll not be too specific, but it was in Dorchester in Boston. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. And again, we're super young, fresh out of college, and we still kind of in this college mindset. So we're at the bar, just me and her. And this area, though, is definitely white. It's giving Irish town. Okay, that's what it's fucking giving. Like, damn, ain't no niggas in sight. Until this one black man I saw at the bar. He was right across, and the bar was kind of wide. It was actually wide. So it wasn't like he could just easily take one step over and I'm over there. It was a couple of steps to see the other side. but he was on the other side, and he was very attractive. Like, he had this like Model S type of face, like borderline. What's his name? What's that model who got photographed with Naomi Campbell? Y'all, I'm telling you right now, this is bothering me. Naomi Campbell. He got photographed with her. Black. I'm just gonna write black male model. Sorry, I'm so sorry, you guys, but let me just tell you right now who he reminded me of, because when I saw him, I was like, oh my, yes, that's his name, Tyson Beckford? Let me make sure it's the right name. Tyson Beckford. Yes, Tyson Beckford. When I tell you he looked like Tyson Beckford, I was like, Tyson? Is that you? He looked like Tyson Beckford. Like, his eyes, like, I know that's a wrong word. I was about to say the offensive term, but it was definitely looking like that, right? Full lips, like, he had this caramel macchiato skin to him. Like, he looked very attractive. Okay, we're making eye contact. Okay, he's feeling me. I'm thinking he's feeling me. So, and I'm sighing because I remember how I felt in that moment. So, y'all, so we're making eye contact, right? He then motions his finger, gesturing for me to come here, right? And you know that motion, right? With your index finger, you're moving it, gesturing someone to come here. And already that should have been enough for me to be like, never mind. Because here's why. And I don't know if some of you guys are feeling the same way. I know I'm a little different, but I look at every little detail, and I could really paint you. I could paint your character based off a little detail that you show. I don't think it's appropriate for men to tell women to come here. You come to me, right? Isn't it he who find a wife find a good thing? Come to me, say something cute. Come to me, let me introduce you to my friend too. Like, be a gentleman. Don't have me get up, walk to you. What if on my way walking to you, I fall and trip? And I know that sounds like a funny thing for me to say right now, but I'm dead ass. Like, it's just in general, like, be the protector that you're supposed to be as a man. You come to the woman. You come to her aid. You come to her. You approach her. The fuck? But anyway, I was young and dumb, so I went to him. I went to him because he looked like Tyson Beckford. Okay, nigga, I'll come to you, fine. But Maxine today wouldn't. I'm just look, growth happens. But again, I was 22, fresh out of college. Okay, I was young. So I went to this Tyson Beckford as deadbeat, as, bootleg nigga. And I said by him, this nigga, he had nothing to say. Like, he didn't know how to carry a conversation. He was like, so are we going to my place or your place? Like, that was literally what he said from the top, y'all. And look, maybe there are some women out there who would accept that type of language or that type of just like off the rip. But for me, give me some lube, right? Like, lube me up for a little bit. Make me feel like, okay, maybe something could happen from here. But like, I'm not to say you have to like, what is it? Like, feed me a dream, sell me your dream. You don't have to like say sweet nothings to me, but like, you don't have to start off as crass as that. And as he was talking, he just didn't know what to say. He was trying to, like, he was saying these like cliche ass lines. He was like mumbling over his words as well, which is, look, I'm not hating on people who have speech impediment. I definitely do, if you haven't noticed. And I'm not picking on that, but I didn't like how his image didn't match his speech. The way that he presented himself was just so different from the way that he actually is or was at the time. And so I was so turned off. He was like licking his lips and trying to look seductive, and I was just so turned off. And It was just horrible. It was really horrible. He didn't know how. He had no game. He had no game, and it was borderline inappropriate. So at that point, I did walk back. I was not that, loose of a girl back then, but I did walk back. I didn't give him any time or play, and so I walked back. So yeah, I bring that up because although someone is physically handsome, physically attractive, they may be dense as hell, right? Maybe just very, just have nothing going on internally, don't know how to carry a conversation, you know, don't know how to approach a woman, can't approach a woman, considering the story that I just shared with you guys, had me come to him. And Gil, I think maybe there was something outside of his physical appearance that made Merla unattracted to him. Maybe the way that he came, maybe his feet smell all the time. He didn't take care of it. Like, like, it could be things like that that's like little but still big, right? Like, you don't know how to clean yourself and you come in here with your feet all out every night and I got to sleep with you. That's annoying. And I think with Merla, though, I know how it came across, right? And I was watching it live with y'all, and I was cringing. I was like, damn, 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 damn. But after assessing all that took place this season between Merla and Gil, like I said with y'all, I don't think Merla was as vocal as she should have been with him, especially when he kept on picking at her for not being as humble as he is, quote unquote, right? For not being as frugal as he is and just being a hater. It'll be one thing if she was spending her money irresponsibly, if she was spending her money on all these luxurious items, yet her bills weren't paid, she was late on this bill, and her lights got cut off, and all these things. But that's not the case. That's not the case. And so you have Gil consistently just like calling her out and shooting her down. And if you guys remember that moment when they were recalling a moment from their past, and she brought him to a volleyball court, and she's telling him how growing up she was heavily into sports and she was a volleyball player, and she actually wore the same jersey that she had when she was a high schooler, and she was proud that she could still fit it. She was having a cute girl moment, and he shot her down. He was like, okay, well, he didn't like, not once did I ever see Gil compliment her. Not once did I ever see him, at least I can't remember, right? Not once did I ever see him say, you look beautiful tonight. Oh, I'm so attracted to you. I love the way, like, he never did that. And I think he did that on purpose. I think because he knows how beautiful she is, and she knows how beautiful she is. He did not want to feed into that, and did not want her to feel like she is like this hot girl instead. So he shoots her down, hoping that she is not as confident anymore so that he can have control. I really think it was this mind control with him. And it all stems from what? Jealousy, which stems from what? Insecurity. He's not making as much as she does. And actually, he had the nerve on the reunion episode to say he makes $100 more than Merla every 2 weeks when she gets paid. And it's like, that right there is already unattractive for him to say that. Like, they go, what? Are you tacky as hell, or are you tacky as hell? Why would you say something like that? And that just further proves why Merla wasn't unattracted to him, and why I was unattracted to him in that moment. Because you are tacky as hell. That's not the fucking point. It's about your mindset when it comes to money. Every time I spend money to have a great experience, to have the finer things in life, you shoot me down and make me feel foolish for it. You make me feel like I'm not humble. I don't know where I come from. And you don't hear my perspective. And so you saying I have $100 more, it just tells us that he has this warped mindset when it comes to finances, when it comes to stability. And so Okay, like what does that mean? He had a moment when he was talking to his mom on FaceTime a couple of episodes ago, and he said how he comes from the mindset of, just taking care of the woman and making sure that she's good and, take care of the finances and all that. And he said with all that Merla wants, he will still be able to take care of the finances, but he'll be living paycheck to paycheck. And it's like, okay, well, for someone who makes $100 more than her every 2 weeks, then this shouldn't be an issue, right? Since you want to point out all the calculations, this shouldn't be an issue. But clearly it is because of his mindset. So it's an internal problem. It has nothing to do with Merla. And that's really what it is. Like, a lot of times when people have these like negative ass comments to say about you and how you live your life, it's because they want to live that life. And they haven't figured out a way to do so within their own means, within their own life. So they find a way to hate on you. That's why I'm getting like heavy right now. But like, that shit's so whack to me. So him saying that, it's like, okay, you make $100 more than her, but she's able to live this nicer lifestyle than you. So what you really talking about? It's really about a mindset. You want to live in a shoebox, and he's trying to say, remember in what episode was it? The Decision Day episode. He's trying to deny the fact that he wouldn't want to live in a shoebox. And she had to call him out like, no, you said you'll live in a shoebox just fine. He's like, it's just a point that I'm making. No, the fuck, that's not the fucking point. Why would you be okay living in a shoebox? And why are you so against having concierge? Why are you so against having a trash chute or trash service? Saying, oh, I'll take the trash. I'm the trash guy. I'm the concierge guy. I'll do it myself. Like, what? It's okay to have it done for you. That doesn't make you not appreciative of your background and not in remembrance of where you came from. Nigga, shut up. Like, you are just incredibly insecure. And I'm glad that Merla said to him in that brief moment when she kind of spazzed out and then she finally gathered herself together, she was like, you're projecting your insecurities onto me. And that just really tells me enough that she felt this way the whole time as they were in this process, but she didn't say anything. And I wish she would have. I really wish she would have. But I think, and I wish she would have, because it comes off that she was trying to be with him, and she said things like, well, I receive you, receive whenever he'll give her feedback about her negative moods or her spending too much. Well, she only said received, particularly if he's talking to her about her moods and how she's sometimes negative. So I think that's fine for her that's good feedback. But as far as him always picking at her for wanting finer things is just ridiculous to me. And it says a lot about him and his mindset about money. So ultimately, I think Merla was not attractive to him from the beginning, and she just eventually played along with it because, look, we're on the show, we get paid for every episode. Let me just make the best out of it. And maybe she does see, because she did say he's a good guy as far as like he has good traits to him, but he's not the guy for her. And that's very well. That is very well. Like, that's fine. Let's move on. And yes, this is clearly you can see Gil upset. And again, when I watched it, y'all, I was taken aback too, because Merla never shared, even in the confessionals with us, she never shared her annoyance when it comes to Gil always complaining about her. She never said that. So everything took me aback as well. It made me wonder, like, damn, girl, have you been faking it this whole time? And yes, I think she has, but I also understand where she was coming from. So I'm down. I'm down that she stood up to him and said, you know what? I don't want to be with you. I'm not attracted to you. I'm not happy. And I'm out. And out she is. And out she was with Rachel on her hot girl summer shit. Because apparently her and Rachel have been hanging out and was hanging out the summer and was living their best life. Rachel decided to let go of Jose as well. And she had enough when she moved into his house, and Jose was always picking at her to unpack, and why you have this stuff here, why you have that stuff, or why do you even have this stuff. And look, on one hand, I get how Jose is as far as organization, because I'm very organized too. And I think ultimately when you have two people who don't meet each other as far as organization goes, that is always a recipe for disaster. Like, I could not be with someone who is unorganized. And I'm so grateful that Freckles Bay is not that, right? So I really, otherwise, because I remember, what's his name? Leprechaun Bay. What's his name? He has a real name, but that's his name on the show, right? That's his name. Leprechaun Bay was unorganized. Yo, when you look up unorganized, you saw this nigga. And I was like, God dang, is he okay? Everything was unorganized with him. Everything. When I would go over his house, you see dishes piled up. You see stains on the dining table. The living room had. Oh, you know one thing I hate? I hate cup stains. The ring of the cup on the table. I hate those. Like, it just, to me, it comes off as disgusting. It tells me that there are multiple rings around this house that you have yet to clean. And it's just so disgusting to me. So when I even see one cup ring stain on a table, that's enough for me to feel so disgusted. Like, I feel immediately uncomfortable. I start itching. Like, it's really bad. Like, I really hate that. Give me a fucking a cup thing. What is that thing called? But I hate that. But yeah, Leprechaun Bay had that all around his house, okay? He would somewhat brag, but he was very proud of the fact that he was a first-time homeowner, and he bought a 3-story house, and he was a landlord of that property. And he was very proud of it, which you should be. That's great. But your shit ain't in order. Okay, you got this house. It looks good. Ooh, you're a landlord. You have that under your belt. It looks good. But your shit ain't in order. So, again, it goes back to all these things that look good, but nothing really is good inside. Right? You go to church every Sunday, but you still ain't shit. You go to therapy every Tuesday, but you still haven't applied anything from your therapy session into your real life. So what? Huh? You got this nice 3-story home, but it's messy as hell inside. Why? You might as well go back to living with your mom, having one room, right? One space that you're in charge of, if that's the only thing that you could handle. So anyway, yeah, Leprechaun Bay was a hot ass mess. And every time I went over his house, I felt so uncomfortable because it was so fucking dirty. It was so fucking dirty. Oh, so fucking disgusting. Like, there's no reason why you should be that old. Mind you, he was older than me. He's older than me. There's no reason why your 8 years older than me ass should have rings on your table. Cup ring stains on your table. And you're 37. Okay. I gotta go. Hello, I gotta go. So anyway, think about Rachel and Jose. So Jose being super clean and orderly is not a fault. I don't see it as a fault. I just see it has a mix up in matching between him and Rachel. I think some people are just like naturally like, there's some people who are just cannot be organized if their life depended on it. They have to have dishes piled up in the sink. They have to have cup ring stains on the table. They have to have mess. I don't get it, but I think there are some people out there who are just naturally inclined to being disgusting, right? Just like how there are people who are naturally inclined to being late. I really think it's a thing that is just natural to some people, and they have to actively work on it to fight against the natural instincts. As for people like me, winners, it is natural for us to be clean, to be on time, to meet the fucking deadline. Meet the deadline. So yeah, Rachel and Jose broke up. And they broke up shortly after their decision day, and I'm here for it. I wish they would have still been broken up at the point of this reunion part 1 episode. Apparently they're, according to what they're saying, they've been working on it. They're talking on the phone consistently, but she's not living at the house anymore. She actually moved in with her mom, and it seems like they're dating even though they're legally married. But look, I'm here to tell you this, and I'm here to tell you this right now. They're not gonna make it. Rachel and Jose are gonna really finally pull the plug, call it what it is, and divorce, and Rachel will move on. Rachel wasn't ever really into him. She tried, okay, tried to say all these like fluffy things to make him feel secure, but Jose is insufferable. And though I understand him on the whole organization tip, other than that, he's insufferable. He is incredibly self-centered, and that is annoying, right? Like, there's only so much self-centeredness I could take. Now I have to live with you are we really doing this? Like, this is not just a show we're doing. Oh, we really do. I think Rachel finally got overwhelmed and realized, oh no, we're really married. We're really doing this. That got to her head, and it got to be too much, and she finally let out. And she said herself that she finds herself every summer, just doing her hot girl summer thing, and that is what she was doing with Merla, okay? Doing her damn thing, and with Johnny, allegedly. So we'll see what happens in the next reunion part 2 episode. We'll see how that goes. Look, although I'm here for the entertainment, it's definitely entertaining. I don't wish that Married at First Sight, I don't wish that it turns into this trash reality TV. Since last season, Chris and Paige really left all of us as viewers traumatized, and this season has made it even worse. So I'm hoping with the next season that I'm hearing is already being in the process. So probably early next year, we'll see the next season of Married at First Sight come up. I'm hoping with this new season, yes, it's entertaining, but I hope it's not to the point that it has been of trash reality entertainment. I hope it's not like that anymore. So we'll see, child. We'll see. On this case, I'm going to end it here. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and I'll check in with you guys next time. Peace. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of God Built This Podcast with your host, Maxine. Be sure to leave a review, give me 5 stars, and of course, subscribe. Also, follow God Built This Podcast on Instagram at God Built This Pod. God bless.